Being Blue as Kira and hearing her voice come out of that character, give me a second because I still just can't believe that's my baby. Oh, that's so amazing. It was really hard to focus and do my job after that, so I was like, wait, hold up, guys. You'll have to give me a second. I have to digest that. I'm so proud of her, it's just a really amazing experience, and I feel like everybody that's a part of this is so. You are a mom of a teen daughter, so what do you think of her outfit? Well, my mama protection, you know, I immediately turn up real quick. But first of all, she looks gorgeous, and I think the fact that anybody has anything to say about someone else's daughter, any minor, I think, you know, just mind your business. She's so poised, she's not prancing on that red carpet like, look at me. That's not her. It was not like she was on a red carpet in a low-cut dress like this. Yeah, she wouldn't, you know, like if she was out there in a dress low-cut like that, you know, some people wear those sheer dresses where you see their underwear. Then I'd be like, Houston, we got a problem, y'all. If there's one child who's been getting zero breaks since the moment she was born, it's Blue Ivy. From the jump, folks were all up in her business, judging her features. Now she's rocking braids and ballroom gowns, yet some folks are saying this whole move to put Blue in what they call inappropriate attire was a strategic move by Beyoncé to throw the public off the scent of whatever's going down with Jay-Z. So, was the whole outfit situation just a distraction from that lawsuit drama? As always, I'm here to break it all down. We all know that Beyoncé's 12-year-old daughter, Blue Ivy Carter, just made her acting debut, and she showed up looking every bit the daughter of royalty. Blue rocked a gold strapless Christian Siriano gown on the red carpet, then switched into a sparkly gold mini dress for her stage appearance. Now, I'm sure Queen Bey just wanted her baby to feel like a princess for the night at the premiere of Mufasa, The Lion King, where Blue voices the character Kira. In fact, Beyoncé posted red carpet photos of Blue on Instagram and added the caption, "My gorgeous baby girl, this is your night. You worked hard, and you did such a beautiful job as the voice of Kira. Your family could not be prouder. Keep shining." But it didn't take long before folks on the internet started dragging Blue's look, calling her dress totally inappropriate for a 12-year-old. A lot of people came for Beyoncé and Jay-Z, accusing them of doing too much by letting Blue wear that strapless gown and makeup, with some even suggesting they were dressing her like she's 17 or 18 instead of a preteen. One person even wrote on social media, lots of chatter online that Blue Ivy's dress is inappropriate, which I didn't get until I read that she is 12 years old. How about we don't put a 12-year-old in a push-up bra? Someone else also added, she's beautiful, but she is 12. My daughter is 12 next month, and never in a million years would I see her in a dress like this. My daughter has developed a young woman's body, as has Blue Ivy, but this is more of a reason to cover her up. No matter what the global status, basically what folks are saying is just because a celebrity kid gets the chance to dress like a grown woman twice her age doesn't mean she's ready to be treated like one. By getting all this attention and praise for looking so grown, Blue Ivy might be picking up the message that being pretty and worthy means looking sexy for other people. But of course, not everyone was on that wave. Some folks jumped to her defense, saying that her gown was totally fine for a 12-year-old and pointed out that this type of strapless ball gown is something kids wear when they are dressing up like Disney princesses. Then, of course, you had people pointing out how young white celebs wore similar dresses to Blue's, and no one blinks an eye. Others argued that all this criticism was just a continuation of the unfair judgment Blue's been facing since she was born, going from folks attacking her black features as a baby to now being hyper-criticized for being a 12-year-old girl just trying to live. One person wrote, "You'll been picking on Blue Ivy since the baby was born, from her hair to her looks to her performance, now to her ball gown. I pray to God throughout the rest of her life she remains strong, protected, and loved because you people are truly jealous, sick, and envious." The drama even made its way to talk shows like Sherri Shepherd's own show, where guest Christina Milian jumped in to defend Blue. You are a mom of a teen daughter, so what do you think of her outfit? Well, my mama protection, you know, I immediately turn up real quick. But first of all, she looks gorgeous, and I think the fact that anybody has anything to say about someone else's daughter, any minor, I think, you know, just mind your business. Whether Blue was dressed like a princess or folks thought her outfit was inappropriate, that dress is still sparking a major conversation about the hypersexualization of young children, especially black girls. People are saying that whether it's Blue or anyone else, this conversation needs to happen now. On the flip side, some folks are pointing out that Jay-Z had just been hit with a lawsuit involving a 13-year-old. While her father's drama was playing out, Blue Ivy, at just 12, had no choice but to step out in front of the whole world and smile for the cameras. This is why some people think Beyoncé might have orchestrated this whole thing as a way to distract from the mess. But if that was the plan, it totally backfired because now folks are talking even more about Jay-Z's alleged involvement with a 13-year-old. And when I tell you this mess is getting crazier by the day, baby, it's out of control. There are even lawsuits against Tony Busby right now, and in the latest one, the lawyer is accused of hiding a venereal disease and passing it along to a former client. Jane Doe alleged in court documents that the two had intercourse and that Tony Busby allegedly failed to tell her he had a venereal disease. The disease is not disclosed in her filing. She claimed she started to feel uncomfortable sensations around her groin after their encounter and called her doctor. After getting tested, Jane Doe claims her doctor confirmed she had an STD. She alleged that when she told Tony Busby about her diagnosis, he didn't appear shocked and allegedly apologized. Jane Doe claimed Tony Busby was aware he had the venereal disease but asked her not to tell anyone about her testing positive. Tony allegedly then offered to give the woman free legal advice in exchange for her silence. She claims in her lawsuit that she allegedly continued to have intercourse with Busby following her diagnosis and that the two traveled together to places like New York City, where Tony Busby owns property in Panama. During one NYC trip, the woman said she and Tony Busby were at a bar when he allegedly shoved a champagne flute in her face. She continues to claim that she has evidence of the champagne flute incident via medical and dental records, along with a chipped tooth. Later in the lawsuit, Jane Doe says she took Tony Busby up on his offer and asked him to represent her in her 2021 divorce case. She alleges that while he was her attorney, Tony Busby doctored medical records to make it look like Jane Doe's estranged husband, and not Tony Busby, infected her with the venereal disease. Jane Doe then claims that Tony pressured her to. Tony infected her and doctored the records. Now she's coming for Tony with a whole list of claims: legal malpractice, violation of judiciary law, breach of fiduciary duty, fraudulent misrepresentation, and tortious interference. But Tony ain't having it. He fired back, calling it all part of a smear campaign and claiming that the conspiracy to discredit him and intimidate him in the Diddy lawsuit has turned criminal. He went on to say that this latest case, like all the others, is frivolous, laughable, and ridiculous, and will be tossed out just like the rest. Tony's making it clear that it feels like every other day another bogus claim is getting filed, all apparently cooked up by folks working with or for Roc Nation. You know, the attorney for the person accusing Tony actually released a statement saying that the client's case has nothing to do with any other person or law firm. They also claimed that Tony Busby is a hypocrite making baseless and sensational claims because he wants to deflect attention from the fact that the client suffered significant physical, emotional, and financial damage due to his legal malpractice and ethical violations. Kids have like an hour left, so get extra comfortable. After that, y'all gotta go, it's a wrap for y'all. 'Cause this thing turns into something that, when y'all get older, y'all don't wanna come to. Okay, so you know, let's just start to get our groom on a little bit. Then, in an hour, we put the kids away. It's all good. Hey DJ, let's hit it. Let's do it. Come on. Once the kids got tucked in, that's when the real party popped off. The streets are buzzing that B and J ain't always been part of the after-hour scene, if you catch my drift. Sheesh, I was at a party at Diddy's crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020, you know what I mean. And Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, the influx of people, he had put them out. But he had taken a liking to me in particular around that time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me. So, he put the majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Me and maybe about 15 others, Jay-Z and Beyoncé being two of them. That just puts into perspective the type of company I was in, right? But honey, get this, word is, Queen Bey herself was caught up in those tapes snatched from Diddy's mansion. Oh, it gets juicier. Word is, Jay-Z got caught creeping, allegedly meeting up with a criminal attorney and a divorce attorney. Jay-Z lawyered up with a criminal attorney, and folks are whispering it's because he might be wrapped up in the mess Diddy's getting charged with. And baby, that divorce lawyer? Well, y'all were right again. Word on the curb is Jay-Z and Beyoncé are on the fast track to Splitsville. Nicki Minaj ain't scared to spill tea like these other celebs. She straight up called Jay out for being tied up in Diddy's drama. One thing's for sure, Jay has been dodging Diddy left and right since those lawsuits started rolling in. The event? Cancelled. His Grammy brunch? Scrapped. Just so he didn't have to deal with uninviting Diddy. Ain't that wild? Instead of saying it to his face, he just scrapped the whole party. Now, folks are talking, saying there ain't no way Beyoncé and Jay-Z could be tight with Diddy for 2 decades, being business partners, hitting up each other's parties, vacationing together, knowing each other's families, and not at least peeping or suspecting some of those shady extracurriculars. Are B and Jay-Z keeping quiet because they know they're in too deep with Diddy? Like, did they even join in on some of his illegal activities? Word from insiders is Diddy ain't trying to go down solo, and baby, he allegedly already started snitching. And guess who might be next? That's right, Jay-Z. Even before Diddy's cases hit the headlines, folks were spilling tea behind the scenes for about a year. And what's public now? It's not even half of it. When it comes to Cassie's case, there's talk that both Jay and Bey got name-dropped in the original lawsuit. That lawsuit was 60 pages long but got chopped down to 35. If what we're reading now is already making our jaws drop, can you imagine what else got cut out of those other 25 pages? They definitely cut out the worst parts from that lawsuit, because what they left in is already wild. Word on the street is that Cassie didn't just name Diddy. She dropped Beyoncé and Jay-Z's names too, spilling tea about something that went down at one of Diddy's infamous parties. Allegedly, after Bey and Jay saw Diddy smack Cassie across the face with a vase, she ran upstairs, locked herself in a room, and took over 30 minutes to pull it together. When she finally came back downstairs, guess who was waiting in the foyer? Beyoncé and Jessica Alba. Now, they say Bey was visibly heated. And just as Diddy and Jay-Z came walking over, Bey completely lost it. She went off on Diddy, letting him know that what he did was beyond offensive and straight up unacceptable. Can you believe Diddy actually dropped to his knees, apologizing to Cassie, Beyoncé, and Jessica? But that's not all. Bey reportedly turned around and snapped at Jay-Z, mad that he was comforting Diddy instead of checking him. She even told Jay she was starting to lose respect for him. After that mess went down, Beyoncé, Cassie, Jessica, and like 20 to 25 other folks dipped out of that party real quick, either because they saw it go down or heard about it. Cassie allegedly left with Jessica and her crew instead of Beyoncé. Why? Because she knew if she rolled with Bey, Diddy would hunt her down, thanks to those tight connections he's got with Jay-Z. The next day, law enforcement was all over Cassie. Turns out, the cops showed up at the crib that same night after neighbors snitched, chaos popping off in the hood. Somebody at the party called the police anonymously, trying to blow the whistle on Diddy. When they questioned him about laying hands on Cassie, Diddy denied everything, and Cassie wasn't about to back it up. So, nothing stuck. Now, this party might not have been one of those infamous freak-offs, but there are receipts. People are talking about how most of those wild parties happened after the public ones ended. And Diddy himself alluded to it in a video that's been making the rounds. Kids have like an hour left, so get extra comfortable, kids. 'Cause after that, y'all got to go, it's a wrap for y'all. 'Cause this thing turns into something that, when y'all get older, y'all don't want to come to. Okay, so you know, let's just start to get our groom going a little bit. In an hour, we put the kids away. It's all good. Alright, DJ, let's hit it. Let's do it. Come on. The real reason Beyoncé left that party early was because she saw what went down with Cassie, and was big mad. But tea is spilling that she and Jay-Z were invited to other freak-offs. And rumor has it, they both show up on those tapes that got snatched up. But trust, Jay-Z's got way bigger problems than just being caught on tape. Word is, he's been grilled about his own dirty dealings. And that's why he's been linking up with that criminal lawyer. One of the main things he's being questioned about? The whole Caithy White incident, which Diddy's already started snitching on. You'll remember Caithy White, right? She was Jay's side piece who mysteriously died the same year Beyoncé got pregnant with Blue. And her death came right after she did that interview spilling about her fling with Jay-Z. The street started talking when Caithy and Claudia Jordan were. It had been going on for years, so naturally, it didn't take long for folks to start putting two and two together. The tabloids began reaching out to Caithy for the tea. Now, get this, about 2 weeks before she passed, Caithy was hit up by a major tabloid digging into the whole Jay-Z connection. She didn't spill much at first, but chilly, a source says that after her chat with the tabloid, she called Jay and threatened to go public with their affair, for a price, of course. Then boom, 48 hours after the world found out Beyoncé was pregnant with Jay's baby, Caithy suddenly passed under some real suspicious circumstances. The official cause of death? A brain aneurysm. But honey, let me tell you, Caithy did not die from a brain aneurysm. Something ain't adding up. According to an NYPD detective, Caithy's cause of death was uncertain. The detective said that they had the autopsy and toxicology reports done to figure out what really happened to her. Here's what the detective said. A 911 call came in from an apartment on 130 West 19th Street in Manhattan. An ambulance came and took Caithy because she was sick. They took her to Beth Israel Hospital, and that's where she died. It was too early to be speculating that an aneurysm took her. They will be doing an autopsy later today to check out her cause of death. But someone may have given Caithy a bad drug, so they'll do a toxicology test, and we'll have to wait 2 weeks for that report. Now, let's talk about why Caithy's cause of death was never officially revealed and why the whole case got swept right under the rug. It's got Jay-Z's fingerprints all over it. And just like with Diddy, Jay's skeletons are finally starting to catch up with him. That's why he's allegedly been cozying up with that criminal lawyer. Oh, and hold up. If you all missed it, Nicki Minaj just entered the chat and turned this whole drama up a notch. Sis is out here exposing Jay-Z and Tidal for scamming her and trying to silence her with a cool $1 million. Onika said she ain't having it. She put it all out there, spilling tea about her part in the sale of Jay-Z's music streaming service, Tidal, and calling him and Steve Stout liars. Now, they've been going back and forth for a minute, but Nicki's claiming Jay is throwing heat her way to keep folks from talking about him and Diddy. And girl, she ain't holding back. She literally posted on X, calling him out directly. They got to keep the conversation on me so that no one asks about these charges against their BFF. I mean, it seems the 30-year-old tea is far from stale. Patterns, yet again. Sass, ugly alien, Stout, etc., all talking about Anika. Why are they talking about Anika? In another tweet, sis Nicki came through with even more smoke. She started questioning if Steve Stout and Jay-Z were in on all the shady business going down in Hollywood. Baby, Nicki wasn't holding nothing back. She straight up asked if they knew what was happening behind closed doors and if they participated in it too. Sis wrote, "Dear Short and Stout, Laffy Taffy Alien. We want to know if you were present during the bleep of teenagers and children. That's what we want to know. Stop, Aaliyah, Foxy, etc., during our Kelly video shoots and stuff. Did you know about Kim Porter and Cassie? You'll always seem to be running the rap pad. So that's what we, the people, want you and your peeps to speak on. Ugly, bald head, bowling ball, expletive. You ninjas don't have this energy for gangsters in person, only for bees on the internet." And wait, there's more. In yet another tweet, Nicki dropped a bomb about her husband expressing his worries about all this drama. She hinted that he's been stressing over the chaos surrounding Jay-Z and Diddy, probably wondering if it might come knocking at their door too. You know Nicki ain't afraid to air out her thoughts, and she made it clear that her man ain't playing around when it comes to this mess. The tea of a 15-year-old child who was railroaded, But no comments on the tea and baby oil that's been going on for decades and as recent as months ago. If 15-year-olds need to be held accountable and told they can't ever move past their past, then what about the 30-year-olds who sat by and were silent, etc.? Oh right, not the baby oil. Oh, Nicki, girl, you are hilarious. Damn, Anika is bold. The Barbs better watch out because Nicki is getting a little too close for comfort, y'all. A little too close. Anyway, when it comes to Jay-Z and Beyoncé, folks are insisting it's no secret in the music industry that Diddy was up to no good, and B and J definitely knew what was going on. So, they either sacrificed their morals for Diddy's cash and clout, or they were low-key involved in the schemes themselves. People are saying that at the very least, Beyoncé could have kept her distance from Diddy, never seen with him or ditching his parties. But she didn't do any of that. Now, reports are coming out that B might actually be in those tapes. And with all this drama unfolding, she's allegedly getting ready to make her split from Jay public. Who knows? Maybe this divorce is the Pandora's box we've all been waiting for when it comes to Jay-Z. Word on the street is this split has a lot to do with Diddy. But we'll just have to sit tight for more tea. In the meantime, I want to know your thoughts on a few things. Do you think Jay-Z will get caught up in Diddy's mess? Do you believe Beyoncé and Jay-Z were complicit in Diddy's shady dealings? What's your take on Jay-Z and Beyoncé heading for a separation? Oh, and get this, his mom thinks he was poisoned, and there was someone with him when he passed who was a very shady, strange character. There was actually a person of interest, according to his mother, who believed they had something to do with it. He went in there and saw Pimp C's body. Pimp was still in there. He said Pimp was lying down like he was praying, but there was blood all over the bed, like he threw it up. They thought he had been hit, you know? They didn't know what the hell happened cause there was blood all over the bed. But he was kneeled down like he had been praying, and the candles had burned all the way down. So they knew he had probably been dead for a day or so because he always lit these candles to help him sleep. Oh, honey, a tape just dropped involving Pimp C and Beyoncé, and baby, the streets are buzzing like never before. Folks are gasping, especially since whispers are swirling that this tape might be tied to Pimp C's mysterious death back in '07. Word on the curb is this tape's got some real tea that could shake Beyoncé's empire, especially with all the drama surrounding Diddy right now. And honey, the rumors say it's messier than anyone could have dreamed. So why would Beyoncé even be caught up making a tape with Pimp C? And hold up, did Jay-Z allegedly set Pimp C up to save his investment in B? Supposedly, Pimp C was about to spill the beans on their alleged affair. Let's unpack this mess. If you're wondering why this tape is such a big deal, insiders say the footage shows the two in a steamy situation. And baby, it's even more scandalous than expected. The fallout could seriously mess up Beyoncé and Jay-Z's squeaky clean image. But listen, this ain't just about a tape. It's deeper. Pimp C was known for calling out the shady side of the industry, and because he stayed pulling back the curtain on the powers that be, folks have long whispered that his passing wasn't as simple as it seemed. He even claimed to have receipts of real dirt on some of the top dogs in the game. He was one of the few who dared tea. The darkness lurking in the music business was something Pimp C wasn't shy about calling out. He openly addressed the shady dealings in the industry and even claimed to have receipts, straight-up proof, of misconduct involving some big-name players. Before his passing, he dropped hints about holding dirt on several major artists, making it his mission to expose these issues. Pimp wasn't just talking for the sake of it, he was genuinely concerned about how these dirty practices were affecting artists. But let's keep it real, calling out the wrong people in the game can come with heavy consequences, and Pimp C knew that firsthand. His truth-telling didn't go unnoticed. It ruffled feathers in all the wrong places, and with that, whispers about his death being more than what it seemed only grew louder. In interviews, Pimp often vented about how the industry treats artists, saying that those who dared to step out of line were met with serious blowback. Fast forward to today, and it's wild how his warnings still hit home, lining up perfectly with ongoing rumors of exploitation and power plays in the industry, especially when it comes to Beyoncé and Jay-Z. The rumors didn't fade, even after Pimp C's passing. He painted a picture of an industry controlled by powerful figures who could shut down anyone bold enough to threaten their secrets. And now, this alleged tape makes his warnings hit even harder. If true, it means Pimp C might have been sitting on even more explosive tea than we thought. His claims about having dirt on major players now feel eerily connected to all this mess. Pimp's outspokenness and his talk of holding incriminating evidence might have put a serious target on his back. If this tape exists, it could explain why he was so determined to expose the industry's secrets. It also raises the question, did his push for the truth have something to do with the events leading up to his untimely death? As more details surface, Pimp C's legacy as a whistleblower keeps gaining weight, unraveling this tangled web of industry secrets and scandals. Now, about his passing. When Pimp C was found dead on December 4, 2007, it rocked the music world to its core. He was discovered in his hotel room after missing a flight back to Texas. The official cause of death? An accidental overdose from a cocktail of codeine syrup and sleep apnea. But plenty of people close to him weren't buying that story. DJ Paul from 3-6 Mafia described the scene as downright unsettling. He said Pimp was found lying in a prayer position with blood all over the bed. Now, tell me, how does that match up with a so-called overdose? He recalled seeing Pimp's body, noting that he was kneeling like he had been praying, but there was blood everywhere. They initially didn't know what had happened because the scene looked way off. Candles in the room had burned all the way down, suggesting he had been dead for about a day. And let me tell you, Mama Wes wasn't having it. She knew someone else had been in that room with her baby boy. She swore he had been poisoned and wasn't buying that coroner's report one bit. According to her, there wasn't enough solid proof to back up the overdose story. And Mama Wes wasn't the only one side-eyeing this situation. Folks close to Pimp C were on the same wave. Journalist Julia Beverly, who had spoken with Mama Wes, revealed that she believed Pimp was never shown love and that all of this was just a setup to make it look like an overdose. His mother was convinced he was poisoned and that there was someone shady with him when he passed. In fact, there was a person of interest, according to his mother, someone she strongly believed had something to do with it. But hold on, the plot thickens. The people who were working closely with Pimp C right before he died? Oh, they weren't convinced either. They raised eyebrows, pointing out how everything around his death felt way off, like a straight-up cover-up. They couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Now, here's the real kicker. Pimp C's death happened right after he started making noise about exposing some serious industry secrets. Word was, he had a tape that would have rocked the entire music world, allegedly involving none other than Beyoncé herself. And you know what happens when you go up against those with power in the industry, right? People started whispering about whether some big names were involved in what went down. But despite all the drama and unanswered questions, nobody is reopening that investigation. The official cause of death still stands, but the theories? Oh, they're still circulating. It's been years, and with all the messy details, conflicting stories, and the politics of the industry, this case still keeps people on edge. And you know the internet, never short on theories. Baby, they are connecting the dots like nobody's business. Now, let's talk about the whispers surrounding Jay-Z and Prince. Oh, they've been swirling like crazy. Some folks believe these two might have teamed up to snatch that incriminating tape from Pimp C. And let's be real, if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that these two stay tangled up in some shady business. At some point, you just have to sit back and wonder, what in the world is really going on here? If you're asking why Jay-Z would even be involved in this mess, well, let me spill the tea. It's all about Beyoncé and that infamous tape. You've heard the rumors, right? The ones about how Jay-Z allegedly controlled and manipulated her career from day one, even when she was just getting started. Oh yeah, people have been talking for years about how possessive he is. And now, fans are putting two and two together. The belief? The last thing Jay-Z would want is for a tape like that to leak and mess up everything he's built, his perfect public image, his empire, his control. The man has been plotting this for decades, and trust, he ain't about to let anything ruin it. Considering everything that's been going down, it's not too shocking that Jay-Z and Beyoncé's powerful grip on the industry might have pulled them right into the middle of this whole conspiracy. People are saying these two have their hands in everything, Hollywood, the music biz, you name it. And they are wondering if they played a part in silencing Pimp C. But here's the real twist, there's talk that the evidence of foul play in Pimp C's case was never fully looked into. Sounds suspicious, right? When you start connecting the dots and throw in the rumors about Jay-Z and his boy Diddy allegedly being behind shady business, like making people disappear and covering it up, it makes you side-eye the whole situation even more. And speaking of shady business, check this out, the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch and 2 others have been arrested as part of a criminal trafficking investigation by the FBI. This has people talking, drawing eerie parallels to what's been going down with Diddy. Now, here's where it gets juicy. Word on the street is that Diddy might have spilled the tea to the feds, handing over names of powerful people to save his own skin. At first, it was just speculation. But now, with these big-name arrests popping up, maybe there's more truth to it than we thought. But nobody saw it coming that Mike Jeffries, the former Abercrombie CEO, would be the first one caught up in this mess. To fall, he was one of the most powerful execs in fashion, and now he's facing federal charges along with his partner, Matthew Smith, and some shady middleman named James Jacobson. What's really wild is the charge, it's all about running a disgusting underground operation, if you catch my drift. Diddy's facing eerily similar charges too. Coincidence? I don't know. But let's dig into this, child. This mess just gets deeper, federal fraud charges, coercion. Yeah, it's as bad as it sounds. Turns out, Mike Jeff and his crew were allegedly using young male models like pawns in their twisted game, tricking them into thinking they were stepping into legit modeling careers, only to drag them into some seriously dark, twisted dealings. Sources are spilling that Jeff used his New York mansion to host these shady gatherings, promising these boys life-changing gigs, only to introduce them to a world of exploitation and raw dogging, the kind of dark underworld no one talks about. Now, Diddy's freak-off parties have been the talk of the town, but it looks like the fashion world's got its own dirty version of these sub-filled, exploitative events. The FBI caught wind of this mess last year after a jaw-dropping BBC report called out Jeff and his partner for using young men at these exclusive parties held in their New York digs and high-end hotels worldwide. But here's the kicker, months went by with no solid evidence to put these men behind bars. Baby, hold on to your seat, because it just got real. Out of nowhere, an insider dropped a bombshell tip, and now the streets are whispering that the snitch might have been none other than Diddy himself. That's right, the man who's been keeping his own skeletons buried might have just turned in the fashion moguls to save his own neck. Breon Peace, the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of New York, wasn't playing when he laid out the jaw-dropping charges against Jeff. Peace exposed that Jeff ran a calculated, high-level operation with a middleman and a crew of recruiters handpicking young men for Jeff and his partner, Matthew Smith. According to Peace, Jeff used his powerful CEO position at Abercrombie & Fitch to lure these victims in with promises of golden opportunities, only to trap them in a web of his and Smith's twisted desires. This wasn't just about flexing power, it was about pure dominance, privilege, and exploitation on a whole new level of depravity. He was using his power, his wealth, and his influence to traffic men for his own sexual pleasure and that of his romantic partner, Matthew Smith. Oh, it gets even messier, baby. According to Peace, Jeff and Smith had a whole operation going, and their chief recruiter, none other than James Jacobson. But Jacobson wasn't just out here pulling in models, nah, his job went way deeper. Word is, he was holding private auditions with young, hungry male models from all over the world, testing just how far they'd go for a paycheck. If these guys passed the test, they were flown out to Jeff's exclusive New York pads or ritzy hotels around the globe, not for modeling gigs, but for some seriously shady business. You already know what I mean. It was all about using these young men to fulfill Jeff and Smith's darkest, most twisted fantasies. Jeff and Smith employed James Jacobson to act as a recruiter to find men. Jacobson engaged in, quote, tryouts with men across the world, where he would typically pay them to engage in sex acts with him. Following the tryouts with Jacobson, Smith would often personally approve whether the men who were selected would meet Jeff and Smith. The defendants would fly the selected men to Jeff and Smith's homes in the Hamptons, in New York City, or to hotels around the world in such places as England, France, Italy, Morocco, and St. Bart's for the purpose of attending events to engage in commercial sex. Now here's where it gets really ugly. A lot of these young men had no idea what they were walking into. They thought they were being handed their big break with Abercrombie and Fitch, but when they showed up, they quickly realized they were trapped in a nightmare. They had no clue about the dark and twisted things they'd be expected to do once they got there. Peace claims that once they arrived, there was no turning back. Staffers allegedly forced them to sign ironclad non-disclosure agreements so tight that they were practically locked into silence. These NDAs weren't just for show, though. They became tools of control and intimidation, making sure these guys stayed quiet long after the ugly business went down. Ain't nobody leaving that situation without a price. And an interview process that did not inform the men of the details of the sex events before they attended, including the full extent and nature of the sexual activity that would be required of the men at these events, caused the men to believe that attending these sex events could yield modeling opportunities with Abercrombie or otherwise benefit their careers. As the case digs deeper, the links between Diddy, his powerful allies in the industry, and these jaw-dropping crimes are getting harder to ignore. The part where these aspiring models were reportedly forced to drink spiked alcohol, pop Viagra, and take muscle relaxants, that right there says a lot about how far power runs in this industry. If you remember, this ain't Diddy's first rodeo. Court docs revealed that he allegedly used similar tactics with young, desperate artists trying to make it in the music biz. Now these eerie similarities are making waves online, with some folks even speculating that Diddy might have been the one who set up those infamous freak-off parties for Jeff and Smith. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the prosecution has 15 male victims ready to testify. They are claiming that Jeff funneled millions into keeping this twisted operation running smoothly and, most importantly, kept it under wraps for years. Investigators think there could be more victims out there, given the scope of Jeff's secretive network. Meanwhile, Diddy's locked up with no bail. But Jeff? He's out here living free, posting a $1 million bond. Both men are facing criminal and civil charges, but the real difference. Diddy's alleged targets were young artists, while Jeff was running his shady empire in the fashion world. Ain't that a mess? This case might have stayed buried if it wasn't for some groundbreaking investigative work by the BBC. They dug deep and uncovered some seriously chilling stories from people like David Bradbury, a former model who became a key witness in the case. Bradbury spilled the tea on how the middleman made it crystal clear, meeting with Jeff would cost him his dignity. It was like fame was being sold to him, and the price? His compliance. The meeting was set, and Bradbury ended up at Jeff's mansion in the Hamptons, a place he later described as a dark, haunting memory. His testimony encouraged other victims to step forward and back up his story. And the details just kept getting more disturbing. Some claimed Jeff's staff even injected them with liquid Viagra. We thought we knew it all when Diddy's skeletons hit the fan, but it looks like we're just scratching the surface of these twisted networks running deep in both the fashion and entertainment industries. The truth, the real story of powerful people preying on desperate young talents, goes way beyond Hollywood. It's a far-reaching epidemic. The charges against Diddy, Mike Jeff, and even Jeffrey Epstein are all starting to paint a picture that's